Welcome on back, guys, to another Pick Your Poison tournament cast. Let's check out the draft first before we actually hop into the game. There, my apologies. Anyhow, today we're looking at the series between RoyaleWithCheese and pHANTOM in bracket I. Both of these players we've covered extensively already. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup and somewhat known quantities. They also will have had plenty of opportunity to check each other's playstyle out and maybe bring some interesting, fruitful preparation here. So, what are we actually going to see being played today? Well, apparently, game 1 is going to be Nomad, and Arena and Golden Swamp are going to be the respective players' home maps. Then for the matchups, we'll start out with Malians against Celts, and we'll have Italians, Magyars, Persians, Burgundians. Interesting. Yeah, some of the mainstay civs here, but also some more niche ones that we haven't necessarily seen being spammed in this tournament. So it'll be an interesting one, exciting matchup. So let's jump in here. Reminder, it is the semi-finals. We're in round 3. So that means the winner of this set goes on to the finals. We're in a best of 5. They will be able to play for a chance at a cash prize in this tournament. Thanks to Daniela, Komi, and the rest of the crew for setting this up and organizing everything, of course, as always. So, that being said, we'll kick off our series on Nomad here with RoyaleWithCheese playing as the Celts, getting a pretty good start here, it seems. Very early with the town center drop and 2 villagers working on it already. Contrast this with pHANTOM, who's only now starting to put it up, with the second villager being a little bit away. So this should transition or translate into a 1 villager lead for the Celts in the early game. He's going to like to see that. And also has the dock up in the north. Whereas for the Malians, oh yeah, never mind. There's the dock right here. Both of these guys with standard opening so far. So let's check out the matchup that we've got at hand here, starting off maybe with the Malians being the more common of these two civs that we've seen. Well, in every series, if it's not played, it's mainly because it was banned, probably. Everybody playing this civ these days, and what a cool civ, really. Oh, it's so basic bonuses here, you can see, but super strong ones. Cheaper building cost, will just dropping off more gold, being such a hidden OP bonus, because you not only get more gold, but also, yeah, you get more out of the gold that is on the map. So you don't only gather it quicker, but also get more. So that's what I meant. And the extra PS armor from the barracks unit, super good, of course, in late game trash wars, when you're gunning helps against skirms, or helps and skirms against helps and skirms. Malian helps, super tenacious there, but of course, well, I'm not even sure if they get helps, right, but being an infantry civ, I would generally assume so. Let's check it out, though, while we have time. And, would you look at that? They don't, so at least that's something. Either way, it's still a really good bonus, because those longswordsmen, for example, in the Castle Age, very difficult to deal with. Remember, you get this on top of the armor upgrades that you are able to research, so pretty good. You don't get Gambesons though, so that's maybe the drawback there. Either way, super solid save these days, and pHANTOM going to be happy playing those on Nomad. Now, on the other side, it is the Celts with the 1 villager lead as expected. Struggling a little bit with the food economy right now, thus Loom on the way. We'll see if that little production can get back going here in a second. My apologies, I was actually just eating some peanuts and those crumbs are still kinda itching in my throat, so I might have to take a sip of water every now and then in order to sustain the constant talking here. Either way, so we wanted to look at the Celts, and let's do that. Idle time, pretty bad already. A minute of idle TC time, really struggling with the food income here. Needs to force drop off and get those villagers back on the way. Oh, has actually already done that. Good job there. But still, kind of lost a little bit of that advantage, and actually scratch that. He's lost all of that advantage because now it's actually the Malians with the extra villager on the map. So good job by Phantom catching up, having a more well-rounded economy, it seems, and only 1 second idle TC time. Very solid play here. Nomad, not easy to keep that TC working at all times. Has also picked up Bloom, so that's great and all. But now let's actually touch on a few of these Celts bonuses. Also, see if that can consider itself one of the winners of the April patch. Has of course infantry. Infantry is much more favor of the month these days, of course. Got the extra bonus too for the healing castles, which what's it called, Stronghold, the unique tech. But just in general, has an eco bonus there with the faster lumberjacks, so what's not to like there? And the well-known super strong siege weapons on top of the faster moving infantry makes for quite the variety in this civ. I don't think they're terribly outmatched here, so let's see how the game actually ends up going. Villager-wise, Malian's really in the lead now. We see there, it's like 1.5 villager lead maybe, and fishing ship-wise, even slight advantage as well. Looks like RoyaleWithCheese not actually looking to add another fishing ship. Might just save some wood for the second building in order to be able to get up to the next age. Though he's currently not making it, I wonder. Oh yeah. Oh no, he did end up queuing up another fishing ship. I'm wondering though, he's sat on that wood for quite some time before queuing up that next fishing ship. Wonder if he forgot about that second building that he still needs in order to click up. That would be super unfortunate, because right around now is where I would expect him to try and go to the next age. Phantom on the other side has both buildings down already with the lumber camp here next to the TC, and has all, well, has all the food already pretty soon as well. So expecting him to click up after this villager comes through. Food economy a little bit rough there with all these working on the same board, but you gotta see there we've still got a group of deer right next to the town center. Beautiful. Another one south with the berries as well. So really good start here for Phantom. Oh, I think he's going to be happy with what he's got to work with. Oh yeah, look at the scouting as well. He sees everything. Double berries, actually. It's beautiful start. Super much gold here. Malians love to see that. Doesn't have the stone that close, but I don't think that's going to be all that consequential. On the other side, RoyaleWithCheese now goes up to the next age with one less villager, but actually 20 seconds later. So there we see the kind of difficulties that he had early on with his build. Nothing game breaking, but a slight disadvantage, and we see right off the bat gold is very far away and difficult to come by for him. Goes for the northeastern one, and I'm not sure he knows where the enemy is at yet, but judging by this scouting he very well might be aware. Interesting, but we'll keep an eye out on whether or not he's going to try to put pressure early here. He's got, in terms of resources, that stone in his TC I guess is okay. Doesn't have that much food, honestly, though. The deer are kind of far here, and the berries also, so I do prefer the Malians spawn here, if I'm honest. Phantom now first to feudal age, and is he going to go for the water? It seems like he is. 3 fires queued up. Oh my, oh my. Double dock navy production on the way for the Malians. Oh, actually had forgotten queuing up boats in the southern dock, slowing him down just a little bit. 2 docks for RoyaleWithCheese as well, but struggling a bit with the wood just thus far. Double bit axe on the way, and with the Celts bonus should be able to get enough wood to come in, but has instead actually gone for stable and barracks. Well, that is weird. You're delaying your navy production to put up land military buildings, but then you're not actually producing anything out of the land military buildings. I don't think that is the greatest choice. It almost looks like a fast castle build for him, to be honest, right? I mean, he's got few in gold, he's got a lot of food saved up, he's not making scouts, and he's already got one of the buildings to go to the next age, so it seems like a half-serious fast castle build. While for the Malians, they are for now committed on that navy, and starting to chip away at the enemy fishing ships. Oh yeah, Cheese. Good to see you come in here. Actually, we have the player Cheese, just spelled with a S instead of a Z. Otherwise, just like you. And then we had him win his semifinals yesterday, so he's in the final of his bracket. Funnily enough, RoyaleWithCheese here, looking to do the same, up against a higher seeded player though, and a little bit behind here to start this one off. So we'll see how that goes for him. I would say Phantom in a bit of better position so far though, but if I remember correctly, Cheese lost game 1 yesterday as well, and was able to come back in the best of 3, so not too terrible either way. Is it a public holiday today in Portugal as well? Is that a thing? Because I think it's a Catholic one, so it might be. I'm not sure. Not sure exactly how Portugal does stuff like that. One cheese already in, you'll take. Okay, you're driving a hard bargain there, Cheese, but I was able to satisfy, apparently. Okay, neighbor-wise, the Malian's in a really good spot. It does respect the opponent having a repair villager there though, so can't really push all in just yet. Oh, it's not a public holiday. Oh, sucks to be you. Long live Germany, where we have a holiday basically every week. Love to see it, that's why I'm able to stream at 2 PM in the afternoon. And again, we see the repair villager coming in for the Malians, or for the Celts actually, but is this going to be enough to win the skirmish? It's gonna be close. Phantom doing a good job pulling the low HP ones back every time. Wow, he repairs super fast. Oh boy. Man, these repairs are so fast actually. Both sides, I guess. And it is difficult to fight into repair villages, but he really wants to do this. Recognizes though that this approach is a bit difficult. Maybe, yeah, with the demo ships or some galleys at some point, that would make it a lot easier one-shotting these type of enemy ships, because the fire ships, really the epitome of damage over time. Instead, you would probably prefer a burst. Although, it seems like the Celts have been pushed back successfully here. They are still queuing up ships, so I think this is really a bit of a half measure here that I don't really agree with. For Royale has now added a few scouts, a lot of scouts actually. He must have another group of scouts out already. Oh, I don't think he knows where the opponent is just yet. He's scouted over here, but he's idling his scouts, but also not fully producing navy. That's why I'm not a fan of what exactly he is. Oh, it is a holiday, but a small one. Okay, so do you have to go to work or not? Is basically the question, right? Alright, I mean, looks pretty good for the Malians so far, I can't lie. Eco lead up to 5 and on the way to Castle Age. And still not sure about what Royale's kind of idea was, what the goals were. Did he still not? No, he must have spotted the opponent, right? I'm a bit confused there. He made lots of scouts, but opponent is open, not walled, no spearmen on the map for Phantom, and he's not being punished for going that heavy on water. So really no downside to whatever the Malians are doing so far, despite committing pretty heavily onto water. Now the scouts come in though, so I expect some villagers to go down at least. These two ones are low HP already, so probably going down. Or are they? Alright. Good job there. Don't want to tank that town center for too long, I don't think. Okay, he's idling the opponent's woodline as well, so he's getting good value out of the scouts after all. In the north here though. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, we're taking a lot of damage there just to try and punch through a palisade that is not really realistic to begin with. But does a good job finding the berry villagers as well. So now we see RoyaleWithCheese kind of coming back here a little bit. Is about 2 minutes late to Castle Age though. So it's going to have to be a little bit more than this. Remember, he's lost the water completely. There's no fishing ships left. So the fact that he's up by 5 villagers now doesn't quite make up for that water difference. But it is a good start. Not bad here. Not bad, really. Oh, we see spearmen now come out for the Malians, and they are up to Castle Age already. I wonder what the play is going to be. It looks like he's just going to commit for infantry, though. Second barracks coming down, so looks like knights or crossbows are not currently what he's aiming to do. Has also taken out one opponent dock already, so it's gonna be impossible for Royale to come back on the water anytime soon. So that's very good for Phantom, obviously. Kind of, when you get one dock of the enemy to go down, it makes it really awkward. They have to add a second one, basically, to even match the production that you can turn out, and thus not really realistic to outproduce when you have got half as many docks, basically, right? Town center forward, actually, for Phantom. Okay, that's a bit ambitious, but has 2 going up, so I like to see that. Isn't actually looking to punish with military here right now. It doesn't look like. Celts up to the next age now. Are going to have to decide what they want to go for, and it's actually going to be archers here. Interesting. So I guess he saw the pikeman upgrade, maybe. If he saw the pikeman upgrade coming out, I agree with the archers. As long as the opponent hasn't committed heavily into spearmen, though, I think just going into knights would have been the more effective plan there, since you already have a few scouts. So if you get the cavalry armor, you would get a lot of value out of those upgrades. Either way, he's going to go into crossbows, so we'll see if that works out for him. And able to pick off another villager there, so he's not being idle with his army. That's what we like to see. Also putting up 2 town centers at the same time, but going to be a bit more difficult balancing the eco. Obviously, not having any fishing ships makes it very difficult to get good food eco up here in the transition period, where we see Malians only now adding a few farms, but basically on very little farms the entire game, simply floating on that water economy that they were able to protect. So that's kind of the difference maker so far. We see 10 extra villages for the Malians, half of those being ships. Solid. Really solid position, I think, for Phantom to be in. RoyaleWithCheese on the other side very much is on the back foot. And is actually going into crossbows. Interesting. No siege workshop yet either. I feel like if the opponent goes into town center boom this early, with not a lot of army, maybe could have justified getting the siege workshop out early and chip away at the town center. Really difficult to take out Celt mangonels with infantry or villagers or anything of that sort. So maybe that could have been a good idea. Either way, he decides to go for the crossbowman. It takes him ages though to get all the texts and the crossbow numbers up there. So it will be a surprise to Phantom, but I just wonder if it's going to be in time and make another difference, because, you know, it can be a bit tough to catch up in eco. That said though, looks like Phantom is not actually queuing up villagers at all times. Yeah, now kind of corrects that, but also housed, so not up as many villagers as he really had the chance to be. The gap actually shrinking right now. Town center time kind of equaling out now, which is surprising after Royale's kind of bad start in that regard. So it looks like Phantom maybe slipping a bit, giving the opponent an opportunity to come back into this, and now queuing up knights himself, while we get more spearmen for the Celts behind the 11 crossbows that he's got. I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure. He seems very undecided about what his general approach is going to be now. Puts up a monastery as well. Must have seen the opponent's knights, I guess. Did he spot that stable? He might have. So he seems very certain that knights are coming, judging by the fact that he's going into spearmen and made the monastery. I would like to see more blacksmith upgrades. But either way, he's got a bit army. He could do something with that. I want to see him put some pressure now, because he's definitely invested more into army than his opponent. And more importantly, he's got the land numbers, right? And therefore, I just want to say, you can't be making army and not at least take map pressure with it. Like, I get you maybe want to hide your crossbowmen for a bit longer, but The opponent is literally castle dropping you right now because you didn't take the map pressure. And he isn't going to take it either. He's just going to let this one go up and let his entire woodline be zoned off. Hasn't closed up the walls here, so knights are going to come in as well. I wonder, it just looks like indecisiveness. That's the only thing that comes to mind to justify what RoyaleWithCheese has been doing. It started in the feudal age with the double dock and double production buildings. And then not really committing to either. And now he's got his army, but just sat at home and gave up the map control. So it looks like Phantom steadily creeping ahead in this game. And game state getting better with every minute passing by, basically. Gets a knight converted, so that's of course less than ideal. And his army isn't that great. I mean, he's got a few knights and a dozen pikemen or whatever, but it's not a world beater army. He's just got so much control right now, and the villager lead, so that's kind of the issue I see for the Celts right now, despite actually having pretty decent army and 3 town centers themselves. Looks like that is gonna be the play. Nah. I'm not even sure why we want to drop a castle there. It doesn't really do anything. Okay, he cancels it. Maybe he's got 1100 stone. And he came forward to drop a castle, thought better of it. Now just drops the gold here, the mining camp. Still, I expect a castle to go up somewhere in this area. And again, he's trying to put it against this woodline here. I'm not sure why this is the spot he's picked. Maybe thinks he can hide it there. But I'm not sure about that. Either way, he's going to have to protect the villagers here. And he hasn't really brought that many spearmen. Also, barely any upgrades on those. So might struggle here a little bit to put this one up. Mangonel there, good job by Phantom. That's going to be very difficult for the crossbows and the villagers to handle. Good shots out of that Mangonel, man, okay. RoyaleWithCheese really struggling. Gonna get the castle up, but really, it kind of denies the berries, I guess. But, I mean, now a second mining camp on this gold, funnily enough. Yeah, I'm not sure. He's got 800 stone still left in the bank. And Phantom says, fine, I'll raise you 1 castle. 1 castle at a time, and both players trying to just put up more and more castles here in the middle of the map, hilariously. This one's not gonna go well though. Oh, don't get shot down. Don't get shot down. Oh, he was pretty lucky that the castle didn't end up killing the castle foundation here. And so he's gonna get that one up apparently. Mangonel was taken care of. But I just like Phantom's castles a lot more, to be honest. I think he's getting more value out of those, denying more eco, putting more pressure. He's up 20 villagers already as it stands. And, well, good news for Cheese, he's got the army advantage, sort of, I would say. Maybe he's going to be able to do something with those siege units. The raids, though, with the pikemen. He'd need to have the crossbowmen at home, and actually Phantom went up to Imp behind this, where Royale is still stuck in Castle Age with 20 less villagers. I mean, this surely has to be it, right? Phantom surely has to be able to leverage this into a victory. Royale trying to break in, I guess, with the crossbowmen, but this might go terribly against this Mangonel. Does a good job here paying attention, and, well, Mangonel not gonna do anything. And few villagers gonna go down as well for Phantom, so alright. Royale doesn't seem to be done here just yet. What's the answer going to be for the trebuchets, though? That might be a tricky one. Because just pikemen is not going to cut it there. And the crossbow is also virtually useless against those. The rams were a nice touch, but as soon as Phantom's knights or pikemen get in there, they are just going to be molten through. Not a huge fan of this game state for Royale. And at this point, it's not really much he could do, I don't think. Anyways, at least able to get one of the traps to go down with the ram, so gets best value he could out of that. But I just don't think he's got any outs left. Doesn't have the map control. His eco is very much unstable. And the town centers, yeah, can't even protect the villagers anymore. Slash can't even be kept working anymore. So it's just falling behind with Phantom having the eco lead, the army lead, and the map control. I can't imagine this going much longer. And looks like the neutral map here, game 1, is going to go in Phantom's favor. But just like yesterday, I mean, just because the higher seeded player gets the game 1 victory, doesn't mean the series is over. To the contrary, we've seen crazier comebacks. So, definitely just the start to what could be a very entertaining series. But so far, Cheese really not feeling it here, apparently. And at this point, Phantom is just kind of playing with his food, making a little bit of everything here in terms of units, and nothing of that Royale has an answer to. Remember, like we said early on, the longswordsmen, the two-handers with the extra pierce armor, they just don't even take any damage from the traditional counter crossbowmen, and RoyaleWithCheese calls it here. So, that's where we stand. Game 1 going to the 2-seeded Phantom. Did a nice job there. Oh, no, stats I don't think at this point are that interesting anymore. But we'll take a quick glance at the draft to see what we are going to see next, because RoyaleWithCheese is going to get to play his home map, which is going to be Arena. And it should be Italians versus Magyars there. So let's see if we can find that in the replays. Arena, Magyars, Italians, exactly. That we got. And so RoyaleWithCheese is going to get a chance to stay alive in this series and in the tournament with a potential victory here on his home map Arena. Let's jump right in there and see if he's able to do that, or if he's going to get closed out by Phantom playing as the Italians, which just matchup wise I think Italians might have a good one here. Although I always say this, Magyars late game, one of those feared late game civs, so if they're able to get there, that could be good. The issue with Magyars, of course, they don't have an eco bonus to help you get to the late game, so you have to use your early pressure that you usually have on open maps to get an advantage that helps you get to the late game, which in this map here, not too likely to succeed a lot with early pressure. So that's why traditionally I would say Italians maybe with the better chances in this direct matchup, but who's to say, right? I mean, a lot can happen, and this is still relatively low elo play, so shouldn't even care that much about stats and such, right? Let's check out what the civs have to offer. For the Italians, it's quite a few bonuses that I think are going to be nice on Arena. The cheaper advances to the next age. This is all about getting to FC and boom, thus advance costs being cheaper. Great bonus to have on Arena. Naval bonus is not going to matter here at all, of course, but I mean still, cheaper gunpowder then is going to be pretty good in the late game as well. So really no complaints. I think is a fine civ to have, and contrasted with the Magyars, I think they can be a little bit trickier to make work. Of course, well known for their super potent early feudal age, getting the attack upgrades for inf and cavalry for free makes for super scary power spikes as he lames himself. Lose the boar with the scout HP, interesting choice. Oh, and he only took one hit, so it turns around. Alright, RoyaleWithCheese not with his cleanest display today. We can say that much. But as I was gonna say, the free blacksmith upgrades for the attack aren't actually gonna matter here, at least not in feudal age, of course. Cheaper scout cavalry is going to be potentially interesting, as we see oftentimes here in the early castle age. On this map, he loses the villager. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. This is getting a bit rough here and hairy for Royale, who... Okay. His his micro here earlier, bit hectic, and maybe a bit stressed out by the fact that he might be going home if he loses this game. And yeah, probably did not play this nervously in the rounds before. Either way, what I wanted to say is... What did I want to say? Oh no, oh yeah, the cheaper scout cavalry line. In early Castle Age, when people typically skirmish for the relics, we see spearmen, we see scouts and monks. Scouts being cheaper, good bonus to have there. Maybe you get an extra 2 or 3 scouts out on the map, helps you snipe those enemy monks. And the relics also spawning very favorably here for the Magyars. Look at this, they've got three relics really that are quite close to them, and then 2, well, 1 that's kind of closer to the Italians, I guess, but another one very far away from anyone. So definitely potential there to maybe use the relics as a means of stabilizing the mid game, and then with your cav archers in the late game, with your really nice light cavalry, maybe there's options there that could help out close the game and stay alive in the tournament for Royale. Hey in chat, Phantom, good to see you. You missed the first game, not that bad. You can always watch it back, of course, here in the VOD or just on YouTube when I upload it tomorrow. Was a pretty entertaining game. I had more to say about Cheese than really about what you did, since that was pretty standard nomad play. But either way, good victory there. Now it's going to be a different story though, winning on the opponent's home map. So we gotta see, yeah, if the preparation is there really, right? Because there's only 5 maps in this tournament. If you ban one of them every time, it's just 4. So maybe preparing for 4 maps, having a general idea of their play, isn't actually that big of an ask of our players here. So I wouldn't be surprised if Phantom also was well enough acquainted with Arena to put up a good fight here. We'll see though, we'll see. Currently neither player actually up to Feudal Age, as I say that RoyaleWithCheese and Phantom both click up. So we get 25 villagers against 24 go into the next age. Interesting, that difference probably, I mean, has to be due to Loom, right? And the idle times aren't really that far apart. No, there is no Loom on these villagers. Why do we have 25 against 24 then? Maybe oh, because of we saw 1 villager dying to the boar. My bad. My bad. And Royale, of course, lost that one while luring. So that's kind of the entire difference separating the 2 players here at this point in the game. Still very even. Italians getting the cheaper advancing costs. Going to get a very smooth, fast castle off here. And again, I'm expecting Phantom to just go for a triple town center, if the previous game was any indicator. And if he scouts well, let's see what he already sees. He doesn't see that much actually, so he doesn't know how bad the relic situation is just yet. But if at the start of Castle Age he sees where the relics are, how his bread spotted, so to speak, he might just say, okay, relics, maybe I'll take 1 and then I'll let it be. Not gonna be too favorable for me, and I would rather expect him to go for Big Boom. Who knows though? I mean, we've seen people do very unorthodox stuff as well on Arena before in this event, so it's not like not far from guaranteed what option these guys will take. So far both going for the minimalistic FC though with Market Blacksmith, and it looks like both hit their timings quite easily. Oh, the building's not up yet. Oh no, actually, never mind that. It's not a blacksmith, actually a stable and a barracks over here for Phantom. Interesting. Just a tad late on the stable going up, I guess. But interesting choice. So that is more of an indication that the relics are of interest for Phantom. We'll see how he plays this. If he abandons the plan once he scouts a bit more, he's spotted 3 relics so far. Scout idle. Oh, right. I typically auto-scout on Arena here, but I also can't be bothered taking this map all that serious, so maybe that's not the best standard to go off. Phantom 15 seconds late to the next age. Has the 2 extra visitors, at least though, and is going to be able to at least put 1 TC down very quickly. I do wonder how he's playing it though, because since he's added the stable, he's not made any units out of that. I would have thought maybe he's going to build up a few scouts, and well, he's going to do that now, so no worries there. Gets the spearman out as well. I've criticized this quite a bit in previous series, actually, between considerably higher elo players as well, but sometimes people just don't mix any spearmen in the mix there with their monks and scouts, and that has cost them more often than not in this tournament. But we see Phantom now really playing honestly here, both spearmen and scouts out on the map to try and control the relics. We'll see if that's going to work out for him. And actually, again, as I say so often, players doing the opposite of what I would have expected. I would have thought maybe RoyaleWithCheese going for the relics, since they are very favorably positioned for him. And he's also got good vision there, scouted everything. But he's instead going for the instant triple TC, while Phantom is going to remain on 1, just for a little bit, I assume, while he gets up the monastery and contests the relics in the middle, which, well, surprising, very surprising to me. Was baited into the TC though, didn't maybe pay the best attention there. So loses one of those scouts, and second TC behind this. Gonna have to spend his resources very responsibly now though, because you can't really do too many things at once here at this stage of the eco, obviously. I'm sure he knows what he's doing, but I'm just saying. You want to keep the TCs producing at every time, obviously, but you also have to invest enough so that you keep control of the middle. Now, fortunately for him, he was let into the enemy's base. He didn't spot a stable there or a monastery or anything. Maybe that gives him a bit of an indication that the opponent isn't actually contesting the middle. And I like the choice of Phantom, not really over-investing. But also, even, I would say he should just stop after 2 monks. You don't even need a third one here, because the opponent has shown no indication of trying to contest for the middle, even loses his scout now. So it's all Italians for now in the middle, while the eco numbers are probably going to start shifting a bit in the Magyar's favor, albeit the eco isn't running as smoothly just yet, doesn't have the right farm number up and running, and also struggling with the wood just yet. So gonna just take another minute or 2 before the villagers start producing smoothly. Whereas on the other side, it's not a ton of farms either for the Italians, but 2 town centers just about able to be kept working, and the relics also already coming back home. Good job keeping control everywhere, having the scouts in the right places, and the monks are doing their job just fine. Not sure why we're putting a TC here. It is just out of convenience, I assume, but I mean, just the backyard would have been probably more productive than this one. Could have put it on the gold as well, for example, or just outside. You have full control of the middle, so I think the outside town center was a viable option too. Anyways, I don't think this one here is ideal, is the main point. Wherever else you want to put it, I wouldn't have that much of an issue with. But we see that's the 3rd relic already picked up, and the 2 southern ones are probably gonna go the same way. So Royale has to start taking a villager lead here. We have seen people do this strategy, and successfully too. You can give up the relics, but you need to really boom ahead if that's what you're gonna do, and that's not what he has done. Housed as well for some time, all that idling the TCs a little bit more. We have 5 times the idle time, so a Phantom really holding up very nicely as of now. Just barely getting the right farm numbers up and running at this point, but that's gonna suffice. He even buys some food every now and then, apparently, to keep the TCs up, but that's well worth the investment. If we just look at the score, Phantom is ahead, and with 5 relics that he's about to be collecting, and about about equal villager numbers. He's gonna be super content going, well, approaching Impia, as nobody seems to be intent on pushing in Castle Age. In terms of stone, both players now looking to, I guess, work towards their castles, but on that front as well, Phantom off to a better start. Well, this is just the exact same thing as in the previous game, isn't it? Both trying more or less to play meta. Phantom just doing it a little bit cleaner. And, well, I guess committing to his strategy a little bit better. Just to explain what I mean by that, in the previous game, he committed to feudal age, naval priority, and then some on land. That's exactly what he did, wasted no resources whatsoever into land military. Contrasted with Royale, who did put up stables and barracks, didn't have enough wood to start producing navy at the start of feudal age as a result of that, but then didn't even use the military buildings, the stable and the barracks, to make any land military either. So he just fell behind from that. And this time we see RoyaleWithCheese dropping the triple TC immediately at the start of Castle Age, but then not making sure he can keep them running, and thus also kind of invalidating the investment he made. On the other side, Phantom did commit for the middle control, made just enough military to have the entire control, pick up all the relics, and put up the town centers as soon as he could afford to, made sure to keep them running, and that's why he's got the lead right now, albeit the villager numbers aren't in his favor just yet. I still think overall he's going to be pretty happy getting that castle to go up now as well. And, well, he seems to just be a little bit ahead. Let's see actually what the resources collected say. Yeah, we see right there, Phantom even 500 extra rests. I mean, that's not really significant, but it just goes to show what the little small things that are separating these two guys can do for you. And despite the elo difference here not being that significant, I just gotta say, at least today, I've liked better whatever I've seen from Phantom. Both these guys have earned their spots here, of course. We've covered their games if you're interested in their quarterfinals and round of 16 matchups. You can check them out as well on the YouTube, of course. But looks difficult here for Royale now. He's not dead yet, and this is still his home map and whatnot, so don't want to count him out. But it's just the general trends I'm noticing. Eco balance also a bit weird right now. He's got a lot of food and wood, as though he was looking to make trash units. Goes for a defensive castle in his base now. And also, I guess, just trying to get towards Imp, if I read that correctly. Also using all the gold villages to build the castle. Maybe a bit unfortunate, because gold is really the thing you're looking for right now. Might have to use the market a bit in a second. Imp already on the way for Phantom. Oh, I don't know. Villager numbers aren't great for the Italians yet, and only having 3 TCs. One of them making the Imp upgrade, so falling behind a bit more with that. Genoese there being an option for him, super nice, of course, when you expect, well, the Magyars to play like Magyars. Frankly, that choice makes a lot of sense. And he's gonna use some cavalry alongside it. Interesting, I think might just be regular scout cavalry. Right, that's what I'm expecting, just to counter any possible skirmishers or whatever Royale would end up going with. Who's trying to actually put up a 5th town center now. He's already on 106 villages. I'm not sure we need more TCs. I don't actually like this. I think we really need to start worrying about some military. We've seen the opponent hit Imp just now. So what's the answer gonna be for Royale? He's got only villagers on the map right now. That's the only unit he has. And he's getting cavalry upgrades. Probably, well, I was gonna say, probably gonna go into light cav, but light cav alone can't do it. Researching light cav as we speak. One stable idle, one stable doing 2 things. And this is a bit inefficient, can't lie. And his eco doesn't really justify making any gold units right now. That's interesting, man. Okay, so we go in for a stone wall extension to kind of open up all this space. I don't hate it, but we're pretty late on this. The opponent has been an imp for a while now. We gotta expect the army to come soon. Phantom up 500 score at this point. No second lumber camp, maybe here another 2 or 3 lumber camps could have been worth for Phantom, would have certainly paid for themselves at this point. Okay, the outposts, I respect the dedication, it may be a bit extreme. Either way, he's got a pretty good spot going for himself. Lycaf is all RoyaleWithCheese has right now. He's got 70 farmers, so maybe that's the win condition he's aiming for. Gets his walling villager cut off now. Oh, the one last tile. Oh, how unfortunate is this? The one last wall wasn't able to be put down. Tried his best to speed wall this up. Maybe could have adapted and just walled straight north from here. Easy to say in hindsight though. And now it tries to make the castle, I guess, as a adapted play here to make sure nobody else ends up coming through here. Ah, it's rough. It's rough. Certainly on the back foot. He's queuing up full light cap out of all 3 stables. He only has 3 though. I mean, he's got pretty decent eco, right? 133 villagers. So no reason to hate on that, but only 3 production buildings. I'm not sure this is gonna go too well for him. Looks like the castle might be going down here. Trebuchets are there, but I guess he's trying to put pressure in the north himself with a few stables, but the timing is just behind on tempo. I mean, the opponent is at his doorstep already. If we start putting up the stables now, that's a bit late. I can't lie. Probably not going to be able to harass the opponent before he's already broken in. And there's lots of Genoese, so the Lycaf fully playing into Phantom's hand right now. More trebuchets coming forward. He's got nothing to respond to these trebuchets, so you gotta make some tough choices here, my friend. Plate barding coming in for Royale, so these Lycaf are gonna be very well upgraded. That's not gonna be the issue. And as the stables go up in the north, he's going to have more production buildings. That's good and all, but it's going to be difficult to take out the trebuchets, even with fully upgraded Lycaf, because the opponent has some good army to protect the siege as well. Gets in with the Lycaf, and now we see the raids beginning for Phantom. If he's able to disrupt the enemy's farming eco, that hinders the Lycaf spam greatly that Royale was going for. He's going into archery upgrades now, so maybe he's looking to get some cavalry archers as well soon, but he doesn't have the gold economy to justify that. His gold is all on the front, so he's not going to be able to make any gold units, and he really would need some to take out this enemy army composition. Skirmishes would be a good idea as well, right, against the Genoese, but well, the Lycaf is just being slaughtered for now, and this is going horribly for RoyaleWithCheese, despite getting such a nice boom off to the end here. He was just lost some time early on, and thus I think wasn't able to hit the breaking point here in time. Hussar spam is nice and all, but opponent has precision, economy setup, and military that makes it really difficult to get stuff done with just Hussars. Phantom looking poised to take the series here. Victory in this game would move him on to the finals, best of 5 for the victory in this bracket. He's gonna start pushing away at the town centers. Still just only Hussars is what he's being met with. And now we finally have an adequate amount of production buildings for Royale, so he's getting a flood of army out there. Currently it doesn't look like Phantom is going to be overwhelmed with that. Going into Hussars himself now, interestingly, wants to have some option other than the gold intensive units. But still, the Genoese are alive and well. This castle might be a bit over optimistic now. This is horrible. He just threw away all his stone for castles within range of the enemy trebuchets. Oh, we've seen this a few times already in the tournament, and this is really... Oh, no. So irresponsible. You see the traps being up right there, and you haven't been able to take out the Genoese even just yet. So I think RoyaleWithCheese was getting a little bit ahead of himself there, thinking that he was going to be able to overwhelm this army. He's not able to do so. Maybe he should just cancel all these gathering points. 20 stables producing, that's good and all, but maybe wait for 2 or 3 rounds of Hussars to come out and go in with all together. 60 stack would have had a much better chance here than 10 waves of 20 Hussars, as we see them just going in there like a conga line, suiciding to the Genoese. Phantom is getting everything here. Has the opponent down to 75 eco. This surely has to be it, right? I don't think there's any coming back from this. The Lycav, the Hussar raids even. Oh, they are just too brutal. And Phantom just was faster. Faster to imp, faster to the upgrades he needed. And RoyaleWithCheese realizes he has to call it here. Ooh, I mean, not much to talk about in this series, because it all followed a very similar theme, but nicely done there by Phantom. And I could see what Royale was going for here in these games, but didn't manage to hit his, his breaking points, I guess, his thresholds in time before the opponent had already established firm control in both these games, and so Phantom moves on deservingly to the final next week, whenever that's going to be played. I guess we'll see. But as the number 2 seed, maybe kind of expected to reach the final, but I've been told not all the number 2 seeds were able to survive in their brackets. And so still congrats to him. And also to Royale, because winning 2 rounds, certainly not easy. Falling short just of the finals is sad, of course. But it was a fun tournament nonetheless. Probably for him as well. And as always, thanks to everybody for participating in the event. It's been great fun casting all the brackets here. And I'm just excited to get more of these games uploaded so that I can cover them. And that's going to be it for our Bracket I semi-final coverage today. Phantom moves on to the finals. We see Phantom commenting here, the unit choices weren't too great and needed an Arbalest switch here probably. He didn't even have the gold for that though, right? I mean, he had all the gold on the front and he lost control of that immediately after you took out that first castle, so switching into a gold unit wasn't really ever an option after losing that castle. Funnily enough, it kind of might have been. He has all the gold in the base. Well, I mean, he had some gold here in the north that I guess he had control of in the end there. But these 2 piles here weren't really able to be mined for a long time. You can see many of these tiles still have all the 800 gold on them. He just didn't mine the gold. I mean, I don't disagree with you. He could have made that an earlier priority for sure and could have protected that better. Could have, but his game plan, I guess, clearly was just get 80 farmers and spam Lightcav. Sadly, he wasn't able to get there in time. And you're absolutely right. After you saw your Genoese, I fully agree he should have made something different. Arbalests, whatever, just skirmishes if he wanted to, whatever. Was a bit late there though. He always just planned to go. Yeah, okay, so now we're getting each other. Yeah, that's the thing. You're right. He should have been more flexible from the get-go, basically. He never used any gold unit, yeah. So that's what you were saying. Yeah, fully agree. And his very clear plan didn't end up working out this time. So sadly, that's where the tournament ends. Solid victory here in 2 games. Not even forced to go on his home map was Phantom. And that's gonna do it. Yeah, thanks for coming by in the chat as well. Hope everybody had a good time and continue supporting the event and uploading their replays in a timely manner if you're a participant, so I can jump on them, as I have a shortage of replays these days with the patch ruining all the previous ones that I sadly didn't get the chance to do. Either way, that's enough for today. I'll see you guys probably tomorrow or whenever more replays end up coming out.